Hey, what's going on, guys? We're back. Movies That Don't Suck podcast, episode 14. Co-host for the evening, Mike.
Yes.
What is going on, man?
Not much. Very excited.
Yeah? All right,
Absolutely.
well, you gotta jump right into the first topic of the evening. This little movie that you may be aware of called Tenet came out.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to have to break this down.
It would have been a big movie, but it is literally a little movie now.
Unfortunately, yeah, it's just been such a disastrous situation. I'm glad it came out. Don't get me wrong.
For sure. It's sure. This is a movie you see on the big screen.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think there's many these days, but I think this is one.
Yeah, it certainly has. It's definitely got that epic Nolan scale that everyone talks about. So you wanted to see it on the big screen. Luckily, we were able to do that.
Yes. We had to drive.
Yep, we had to drive. Yeah, out of state.
Yeah.
And check it out. But it was worth it. So, okay. So let's, no jokes intended, but how do you want to approach this? You want to start from the end and work your way back? Do you want to go forward? How do you possibly approach a movie like this? There's so much going on, which everyone's been saying.
There is. I only got to see it once, and
Yep.
This is definitely a movie that warrants multiple viewings.
Absolutely.
You know, I did like it initial viewing, but I do have to watch it again. I want to make sure everything lines up, you know, and understand a few things. You know, you have to see the movie more than once.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I saw it twice, and even with seeing it 2 times, I'm confused. I was gonna look for things and then say, okay, I'm gonna pay attention more to this and more to that, but I was still confused.
Yeah,
there's still a lot happening on screen, and there's so many like layers of things that. Even after watching it twice and doing the whole YouTube breakdown, you know, you got to search YouTube and get explained answers and looking at all the line graphs and the charts and the timelines and an inversion. It's still just so much happening.
It is. This is like a DVD movie.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? You have to see it on the big screen because of the scale and everything. But this is a movie that you get on DVD or Blu-ray. And you watch it a few times. Hopefully, there's like features and commentary.
Yeah, that's a great point.
You know, I don't know how many commentaries he does, but it's one of those movies that you watch over and over again. And if everything does connect, which I think I'll give him that much credit.
Yeah,
so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, but I still want to watch it and make sure everything, because I think this movie is a mashup of Memento, which I think is his best movie.
Okay, I've heard a lot of people say that.
Have you seen it?
Yes.
Okay, it is
great film.
I think it's his best movie. And Inception, which is like this high concept, you know,
sci-fi.
Yeah. I appreciate that this is like a big original, like, you know, this is like a new story. It's not based on anything or anything, and that's what I like about Nolan. Is that he makes these really big movies that are original ideas. You know what I mean? Even if they're not that great, some of them are, some of them aren't.
Some better than others.
I appreciate that effort. You know what I mean? Because I think he's like one of the only guys doing it now.
Well, he's certainly like, that's what makes his brand so known, is that he does these high concept films, but also very Hollywood. Not a lot of people do that. Either you're a Hollywood like Michael Bay type, or you're more of the high concept kind of guy that doesn't necessarily, you know, get massive exposure. So he's kind of like the perfect
he gets
blend.
Massive exposure.
No, I'm saying,
of course, he's Christopher Nolan. He did that. He gets out doing Batman. You know, obviously.
Exactly, that's what took him to the next level.
Right.
But okay, so if I were to ask you, just in the most general sense, coming out of the theater and now having a few days to think about it, what's your review of the film? Would you say it?
Okay, I only saw it once.
Right.
And like I said, I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt. Give him the benefit of the doubt. I liked the movie. I don't think it's his best movie. I think, like I said, it's a mashup of Memento and Inception. And I think Inception is a better movie.
I would agree with that. I think Inception is the superior film.
It's the same like high concept, you know, crazy idea, you know, that they really put a lot of money into and made it really big and everything. And I feel like this movie could have been just as good with all the same stuff that happened into it, and it didn't have to be as confusing.
Yeah, I do.
You know what I mean?
Understand.
I feel like I think I mentioned to you outside the theater when you and I saw it, which was like I really want. You know what I wanted to experience more than seeing the movie itself was going to the movies at this time when movie theaters are just reopening,
starting to
and
come
seeing
back.
what their protocols are. And like, I was very happy that the theater that you and I went to was like a little theater. It wasn't like a big AMC.
We couldn't see it in IMAX.
That made me happy. You know what I mean? Like I bought concessions just to kind of contribute to
that's cool.
the little
Okay.
cause that they had going on. But it was I feel like I told you, James Cameron. James Cameron, my favorite director.
Of course.
And I feel like Christopher Nolan, who I think is nowhere near close to James Cameron, but I feel like he is the only guy like James Cameron that will make like a big, crazy action original movie that everybody is coherent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's good.
Right, it's not incoherent nonsense.
Yeah. You know what I mean? I feel like he's the closest one to Cameron, even though he's not close to Cameron, in my opinion.
I do agree with you that that's the biggest thing with the film is that it's really well thought out, it's really well planned, and it's really well executed. But it didn't quite have to be as complicated as it was. There's so much happening.
I feel like what my point was, I feel like Cameron would have made that same movie with all the same things happening, all the same plot points and everything, but more coherent, more coherent. Everybody would have understand it. Like when I watched Inception, like that's, there's a lot going on in that movie.
Right.
But by the time I finished watching it the first time, I understood everything that happened in that movie. And it's, it's a complicated movie.
It is. It's the dream layers.
But I feel like that,
everyone gets
like
off.
12 Monkeys is a movie that I mentioned before, but it's a masterpiece. It's a very complicated movie, but you understand.
See, the thing I'll say about Tenet that I'll give it credit for, as much as it seems like I'm knocking it for being complicated, but I'll give it credit that it's one of those films that as you go through it, you start seeing things that you're like, what's going on there? I don't really understand. But then as the film continues on, you start getting more and more pieces to the puzzle. You start to figure it out.
Right.
You're not just completely lost the whole movie and just thinking, like, what's happening?
Right.
You do
exactly.
start to put the pieces together.
The main things, and that's the memento element of it.
Correct.
And memento is like every 4 or 5 minutes and then it resets or whatever. So the first time you're watching that movie, it takes like 3 or 4 times. Like by the third time and it resets again, it goes back to the previous scene. You figured it out you figured out what they're doing and what you're watching or whatever. So in this, it's more spread out. He just threw those memento situations in, those little flashbacks that connect it throughout the movie instead of every 3 or 4 minutes the way they did in Memento. Or 15, whatever,
Do you feel
scenes.
like Nolan is going a little bit too high concept now? Like he's going like really hardcore with these really interesting scientific,
No.
concepts, and then
No.
having his, a lot of people were getting on him saying, "Why is your protagonist called the protagonist?"
That's
like,
great, dude. It's funny. Like a thing that and some of the I didn't read a lot of reviews, but some of the reviews I saw, they're like, "Oh, there's no character development." The guy is a CIA spook. You know what I mean? Like you're not supposed to know that. It's perfect for this movie. You don't need to know anything. Dude's a good actor.
I did want to know a little bit more. I wanted to know a little bit about him.
Nah.
Because other than the fact
you
that
don't
he's
need
like an
to know
overall good
anything
dude.
about you. Everything you need to know is there. That this dude is a badass spy.
Yeah.
A government motherfucker that like does the most hardcore fucking missions. They call this dude.
Yeah.
Well, this movie boiled down to me, like on the simplest level, is a Mission Impossible movie or Bourne movie, with a sci-fi twist.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah, but I understand what they're saying, that if you're going to have the entire movie based around John David Washington, listen, I thought he was great in the movie.
He's a great actor. This kid is good. We'll talk about him more later.
Yeah, absolutely. I just do think that I wanted to know maybe a little bit more about how he got into it, a little bit more.
You don't need to know that.
We learned he's a selfless
Dude,
guy.
that's
He
like
cares
an
about-
origin story. It's like watching Batman over and over again get fucking born into Batman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, this dude, all we need to know is, like, we get thrown into his situation. We realize very quickly that he does, like, serious shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's right. He's the guy. He's the
Yeah.
guy. Remember he tells the guy in the beginning, you've been made.
Dude, this
now
guy,
you gotta
people
get out.
like in real life, I don't know, but I would assume like in real life, like the real people like him, that do the most crazy missions, no family, no friends. This dude's a fucking mystery. This dude is all about fucking being a badass.
See, I feel like a lot of people kind of wanted to say, oh, okay, you don't really learn about him, but you learn about him through Elizabeth Debicki's character. So the fact that he's caring for her so much, and he's like watching over her and her son. That's kind of where you learn that he is a good dude. Yeah, in the beginning you learn, about he didn't take the pill to save his team, which is very admirable, of course.
Right.
But you're only really learning about him through those actions. And I kind of understand that that's kind of a fair criticism. Like
that's all we need to know about him in this movie. You know what I mean? I don't. That's all. That's it. Like he's a badass government motherfucker that just does the craziest shit. And they called on him to do the most craziest thing, time travel shit, crazy shit. Yeah, I find it funny that they conveniently fucking have these time travel fucking doors everywhere in the movie.
Yeah, that was another part of the plot where they kept talking about how the technology hasn't been invented yet. See, that's the thing. Once you start messing with time, I like that it's not a time. That's the thing. It's not really a time travel movie. People say, "Oh, it's about time." It's like, no, you're not really traveling to different times. You're just literally going back.
Well, there's people from different timelines, like all in or you know what I mean?
Right, but I'm saying it's not like the thing where you go through the machine and then you can just go like 20 years back. No, it's like you can only go back on the path.
But that's what I appreciate about Nolan is like doing something big and taking like a high concept like that and trying to do something different than other movies that have dealt with time travel in the past have done. And that's what I appreciate most about Nolan. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I totally understand what he was going for. I just think, like you said, we could have just narrowed it in a little bit more, what was going, because it got to a point where it was just overwhelming and there's so much happening because you have to listen for every little piece of dialogue and you got to really see what's happening.
Yeah.
And then once you start talking about the time inversion, that's where it gets really crazy because you have the four main characters of the movie. You have the protagonist, John David Washington, you have Robert Pattinson, you have Elizabeth Debicki, and you have Kenneth Branagh. And it's basically, at the end of the day, a story about these four characters. Once you start watching the YouTube videos and following everything that's going on, and you start seeing the charts and the inversion and timelines and cutting through, that's where it gets to be like, who's going to follow this?
Yeah, no, I mean, like, this is, to me, though, this is like a DVD movie. It's definitely a movie you see on the big screen. It's one of the things, I don't think there's many movies that I would go to. It takes a lot for me to go to see a movie on the big screen, but this is one. But again, like I said, this is a DVD movie. This is a movie that I would buy on DVD and watch a few times and put it all together, you know what I mean? And I feel like you just got to watch it over and over again. And that's another clever thing, you know what I mean, of them. He knows like it's a movie that you're going to have to watch multiple times. And if everything is coherent, that's pretty slick,
What'd you think of the special effects in the film?
Not that the visuals. I mean, the special effects are good, but there's nothing. I don't think it's as more impressive than when we saw Inception. You know what I mean? Like you're seeing like explosions happen in reverse in this. There's nothing. You've seen that before, but it was clean and big still. You know what I mean? Like the filmmaking is good, but like if on a visual level, Inception. Yeah, it's more impressive.
Inception has more of like the pop of like the crazy flair of like the building like bending and like
right.
Slow motion and all that. But
when Inception happened, you really didn't see too much like that before that. You know what I mean?
Right. It was different.
It was something that you haven't seen like big city, like that or whatever. And when I was watching this, everything looked cool and everything like that, but it wasn't like anything that like blew my mind or anything like that. Not even close.
See, what I really loved that I appreciated was the movie didn't go overboard with the CGI and the green screen.
No.
The stuff you saw was stuff that was in
Nolan is a good filmmaker, I think, as far as big pictures go.
Coolest moment though was when they crashed the plane into the building. And they actually crashed the plane. Into the building. Danny, did you think that was like you noticed that when you were watching? Like how cool there wasn't no CGI plane that they like. You see that plane go in and just explode. I thought that was just so cool. Like you don't see that.
You saw it in Speed when they crashed the bus into a full size plane.
Yeah, but that was also 30 years ago, so I can't get too.
Sorry. Speed is better than Tenet.
Ooh, that's a controversial take right there.
I didn't realize until I watched like two videos right after we watched it. And we watched it opening weekend here in the States, so it was already out in Europe. So
Right.
the only reviews that were out for were like dudes from overseas.
Yeah.
And I watched like 2 of them or whatever, and I didn't realize that I should have. If I paid attention to like the marketing, I probably would have realized it.
Mm-hmm.
But that Tenet itself, the title is
what's the word? It's a palindrome. It's same
There you
backwards
go,
and forwards. Yeah. See, I noticed that. Yeah, that was one of the things that
I didn't realize it until I was like, oh, that was dumb. I'm sure that was like common knowledge.
It's one of those just obscure things about.
That's
the
why
movie
I don't like the hype. I don't get into the hype, bro. I just like to see movies, man.
Yeah,
like
that's part of the fun of everyone gets into now today. It's. It's the little things that Nolan did in the movie I thought were so cool. It's like he's like, oh, you're part of an organization called Tenet, and it's just the word you got to use, and he gives him the hand gesture where he's like, this is the thing that will like get you to the next step. And
see, I don't even remember that.
Yeah, see the movie. A little knock against the movie too is it does in the beginning it does fall a little bit into that thing of okay, first here's where you are, then you got to go to this place and talk to this person, then you got to learn that piece of knowledge, and then you got to go to this next guy. And like so, the movie in the beginning falls a little bit into that.
The movie was good. I just want to watch it enough to make sure like everything lines up, and I'll give it the credit that it's due. I don't think it's not my favorite Nolan movie.
I think a lot of people are saying it falls in like the middle of his filmography.
I think that's a fair statement. I think
notice it's not his best movie and it's not his worst movie. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Danny, would you agree with that? It's not Nolan's best movie. It's not his worst movie.
Yeah, I would say that.
Yeah,
but again, like this is a repeat viewing movie, so like I want to watch it more, so I know everything, and then maybe like it won't raise it up to the best for me, but maybe it'll raise it up the scale a little bit.
I'll say this: I kept to my score. I gave it an 8.5, and I will hold to that.
It's a very generous score.
I was thinking when I came out of the theater, I was thinking 8. But I'm like, oh, this is a really smart movie. There's clearly a lot of time put into it. I love the special effects. I love although the acting was really good. I feel like it nailed a lot of what it was going for. Yes, it's overly complicated and there's a lot going on, and we can talk about time inversion, and that's another word they throw out, entropy. After the movie was over, I had to look up what the heck is entropy, and it's literally they say it in the movie, but I didn't realize at the time. It's basically just like your inertia, like your energy, like the internal energy of like all objects that are used. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't have a physics degree, so I assume that a lot of people that see this movie are not going to have physics degrees, so it's one of the things you have to just figure out.
Yeah.
This movie, more than anything, in the YouTube universe that we live in, you got to watch YouTube after, like, to really...
I mean, that's the way it is, unfortunately, and like I said, I'm guilty of that shit, too.
I enjoy it. That's part of the fun for me.
That just saves me, like, the time and the money of having to go see it again, but, like I said, this is a movie. If I was young, back in my younger days, I would have like bought this and watched this movie over and over again. And if it is as smart as I think it possibly could be, I would have watched it a lot. And that's why I say it's like a DVD movie.
What do you think? So one of the big theories online that people are talking about. Of course, full spoilers for anyone paying attention right now. By the way, we're live on YouTube, so anyone who's listening to us right now, just make sure comment, subscribe, follow us. Let us know.
Now on Twitter as well.
Yes, we're now on Twitter as well. We'll definitely talk about that later.
Tweet at us.
Yeah, tweet at us. So, definitely, it's one of those things where you get into crazy into the theories. So, the biggest theory that everyone's talking about is Robert Pattinson is the little boy.
Yeah.
And that Neil is Max.
Yeah, I don't know.
What do you think of that?
I don't know, because again, I saw the movie once, and I admit, like, I have to watch it again. Yeah. I watched like 2 of those videos the night after we watched it, or the night we watched it when I got home.
Oh, and you did some YouTube?
That was it, though, and I that was enough for me. But I remember, and I don't remember specifically how, but one of them like mentioned that rumor and debunked it. It's interesting. Really? Yeah.
Yeah, it's not confirmed. Let's be clear.
It's interesting.
Nolan hasn't said anything.
But again, this is the same thing as the top at the end of
Inception.
Yeah. You never know.
Spinning,
yeah. And that's another thing I appreciate in movies is a little oh my God. Say it for me.
Ambiguity.
Yeah, say
ambiguity. Yeah, I'm botching it too.
Ambiguity.
Ambiguity. No, but I like. See, that's the thing. I like a little mysteries. That's the thing. The movie has a little bit of mystery. Whether Max is Neil ultimately doesn't make or break the movie. So a little mystery like that, I enjoy. That's fine. It's when you have to dig up a whole entire movie and figure out the whole thing with a pen and paper that I get pissed off and I say, oh, that's nonsense. I don't want to do all this homework to figure out. But if there's little things here and there that you can look at, that I think is awesome.
Yeah. I think like the most complicated part of the movie is Kat, the woman.
Yeah.
What's the actress's name?
Elizabeth Debicki.
Okay. Well, I think that's like the real key to figuring everything out in that movie.
Everything kind of revolves around her.
I think so, yeah.
And it does because not because she's married to the bad guy Kenneth Branagh,
who I was not a fan of as the villain in this movie.
I was going to ask you about him. He was all right.
Nah.
Danny, do you have any thoughts about Kenneth Branagh as the bad guy?
Dude is such an over actor. Not so much in this, but like in Murder on the Orient Express.
Oh, that's right.
I could not take that movie. Every time he was on us, I was like, this guy is acting like he is in a Broadway play.
Did you feel like he overplayed it a little bit, Danny? Like he was a little overact? I did feel like there was a few times he screams where I'm like,
I don't know. Like it's just.
I think Kenneth Branagh's a good actor. I didn't think he's the best villain.
He's a director too. He
did Thor.
He did do the original Thor, which is
it's okay.
But he's done other movies. I think he's been nominated for Oscars as a director and stuff. I could be wrong, but I think so. But whatever, he's fucking.
So would you say he's probably one of the weaker points of the film? So if you want to talk about weak points in the film, maybe Branagh's villain's a little.
Yeah, no, there's no weak points. The only weak point he didn't do it for me, whatever. But like, it's no big deal. Like that doesn't take away from the movie, really for me. The weak points, the potential weak points is if everything lines up or not, and that just takes repeat viewings. I don't give a shit who you are. There's no way anybody is watching this movie going in blind for the first time and being able to put the whole thing together.
Yeah. I turned to my friend during the movie the first time I saw it, and I was like, about 20, 30 minutes in, and I said, are you following what's going on here? He's like, I don't really know. I'm kind of lost. I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of lost too.
It's those little Memento things. Again, like Memento, if the first scenes, I'm saying like 4 minutes, but whatever, they're like like anywhere from like 5 to 10 minutes, but then the movie like goes back. The movie starts from anybody who has never seen Memento, it goes from the end of the movie to the beginning.
The movie literally starts, for people who don't know, the movie literally starts at the end and shows you the ending, and then you go all the way back to the beginning and piece it all together.
So in Memento, it's like every 10 minutes or so, for realistically, and then it goes back to the previous scene. It only takes like 4 times that you recognize, okay, they're going backwards or whatever.
Yeah.
So in this movie, there's moments that they sprinkle in where you realize, like, okay, you kind of realize what's going on. Like, okay, this obviously the big one is when she see her diving off the boat.
That was at the end. That's one of the big things that when I saw that, it really clicked for me. Where I'm like, oh, so she saw herself jumping off the boat after she killed Branagh.
That's a very obvious one, but I'm sure there's more subtle ones sprinkled throughout the movie.
Well, our boy Danny said that he noticed in the first time. I didn't catch it when they're fighting in that hallway at the jet hangar, and Pattinson rips off the helmet of John David Washington, and
which was towards the end of the movie too when you get that reveal.
Yes. And it's like a turn. He turns a corner, and you don't see what he's looking at, but he clearly looks at him and then turns back, and you're like, "Oh wow, he saw it was
right." In retrospect, that should be an obvious one.
See, I didn't pick that up the first
I didn't pick it up until I realized it at the end. Also,
he looked. I'm like, "Holy crap!" He looked at him. I didn't pick that up the first time. Mm-hmm. So that's one of those nuggets that you just don't.
Yeah, no, this is a repeat viewing movie. That's my review on it. That this is a movie that is good. I think. Like as long as everything lines up, you just like you watch every time you watch it, you're gonna realize something new. You'll be like, oh, this connects to that.
There's so much going on in this movie, which I've said a million times, but there really is so much that I had said to myself, okay, these are the things I'm gonna look for my second viewing, and I was looking for them and paying attention to certain extra things, and I was still confused.
Yeah,
I was still like, oh my god, there's so many layers here. They say that conversation with Michael Caine is really important at the restaurant in the beginning.
Yeah,
and I
of course.
I was like, I still was moderately confused after the second viewing.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, what exactly was he talking about?
Michael Caine is great.
Michael Caine is awesome. Did you recognize who the military soldier guy was at the end? I think his name was Ives. Did you recognize that guy?
You told me after the movie it was Kick-Ass, Aaron, whatever.
Aaron Taylor Johnson. I didn't recognize him.
Yeah, I didn't recognize him either.
He got jacked and he got the beard, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. Aaron
Good
Taylor
for him,
Johnson. So
no big deal. That's just like a throwaway part, but whatever. He got to be in a big movie.
Good for him, right?
Yeah, it's good for him. Yeah, exactly. He's doing all right.
So I would say, is there any other like major part? Oh, the thing a lot of people have been talking about, the sound mixing. A lot of people, we went into the movie hearing a lot of people complaining that the sound mixing was a problem for this film, and that different people at different theaters in the country, of course, different sound systems, all experiencing different things. Did you feel like there was a problem with the sound in any way.
Nah, they made it weird, with the backward shit that was going on or whatever.
They definitely buried the vocals at a lot of the boat scenes and a lot of.
Oh, really? See, I'm sure that's something you would know. Like you said, you saw it twice or whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't really have an issue with it. I didn't think anything while I was watching the movie. I heard everything or whatever, and I feel like I think people that are complaining about, the weird goofy sound effects when they're fighting backwards and stuff like that, because they had to do something. He's trying to do something different or whatever, and that's what they came up with. It's no big deal.
Danny, did you feel like the mix was bad? You heard all the stories going into it, right?
Covered my ears because the music's too loud.
So you did think so? Okay. So,
Thank you.
Yes, I agree with that. The music was too loud, and the vocals were buried.
All right,
a little bit. The voices were buried.
Nah,
but you didn't find it intolerable, right?
I actually covered my ears.
Oh, really?
So okay.
Did you watch it in the same theater?
Yeah, we went to the same.
Really?
Theater,
And it was loud?
Yeah.
Wow.
No, I see what Danny's saying, that the music.
No,
was
but
definitely
what
loud.
he brought up was one thing I didn't like about the movie was the score, and I think I mentioned it to you after.
You did. You said you didn't like it.
I felt like it was like the music from the trailer. I gotta look this up. I meant to look it up before knowing, but I felt like it sounded like the music from the trailer from like Pain and Gain or like a Michael Bay movie.
I didn't notice that.
No, I did. I guarantee. I'm pretty good with scores, man. Like,
Yeah, no, you're good. Yeah, you're good at that.
I gotta look it up. It wouldn't surprise me if it's the same fucking composer because they said this is not Hans Zimmer.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not Zimmer.
Yeah.
Didn't get to work with Nolan this time.
Yeah, he was tied up doing something else or whatever. So,
Composed
yeah.
Black Panther.
Oh, the guy who did Tenet did
What
Black Panther?
what else did he do?
Roderick Goranson.
I don't know. But
Oh,
what
okay.
else
I'm not
did
familiar
he do?
with his work.
The score of Black Panther. So he's got a good job coming
Yeah,
up.
exactly.
Well, maybe he's gotta wait.
Yeah, is there any other big movies that this guy's done?
Whatever. I didn't like the score of the movie. I thought it was wrong for the movie.
I know. I like the score. I thought the movie sounded good. I also like the Travis Scott song in the credits.
I don't even remember that. Whatever,
Yeah,
man.
I like that. I enjoyed
Did
it.
you buy his Happy Meal?
No, I haven't. I know there's a Travis Scott burger out right now. My friend tried it, said it was pretty good, but I don't know if I'm gonna go that far deep into it.
You should get one if you're such a fan.
All right. So, final thoughts on Tenet, Mike. How would you sell this to someone who says that they want to go see Tenet? What would you tell them?
Oof, it's a good movie. I liked it. It's confusing, so anybody I would like recommend.
Maybe a little overhyped. Maybe a little overhyped.
I don't know. It depends on how you feel about being confused at the end. Like if you're just like one of these people that watches the movie and you're just like don't get it at the end and you're just like fuck that movie, then then don't go.
It demands a lot of you.
I just feel it's a movie that it's a big screen movie. It's like grand and big and stuff. You can see
It fits the word.
yeah,
epic.
you can see the money on the screen that they spent on it and everything.
Absolutely.
So it's a movie that's worth seeing on the big screen. But if you gotta watch it and you gotta pay attention to what's going on, and you probably have to watch it again when you can rent it one day.
Yeah. What would you give it a score? Would you give it what number would you give
I
it?
don't give numbers. You
No,
know
you
what
don't
I
like-
mean?
you don't do the
I
numbers?
like the movie. I like the
Okay.
movie. It was a good movie.
Okay. I would say, you know what? Same for me. It depends on how much time and work you want to invest in it, but I feel like it's one of those films, the more you invest in it, the more you'll get out of it. I think that's the best way.
Yeah, no, I'll give it that.
Because it's not just a nonsense movie.
I'm
You
going to
just gotta
watch
see
it again when it comes out. I'm not going to go to the theaters again, especially out of state.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I gave it its due in the theater.
Yeah.
And it was I'm not upset about it.
Everyone we've seen, like everyone I've talked to, I've seen it with, like, everyone's liked it. It's just a matter of how much you like it. I didn't see anyone that hated it. Definitely.
Nah, it was good. It was good. It was good. If you're a lover of movies, then you should go see it. If you have a theater near you that that is playing it, just to show your support.
Yeah, exactly.
Because theaters are pretty much dead right now, man.
No, I know. Like I said, yeah, if you have any desire to go see it, just go see it. That's the best thing I can say for Tenet. Just
It was good.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
give
a
it a
good
shot.
movie.
Yeah. All right. So, I think we've gave Tenet its due. Push that to the side for our next topic of the evening. I think, Mike, we've been talking about this for a lot of months now. I think we finally got to talk about what happened with Mulan the last couple of weeks. It's been an absolute just roller coaster for this movie. It's
Okay.
been unbelievable. Now we can go about it from. I know you didn't see it, but I did. Of course, everyone knew. Everyone on this podcast.
You were the
knew
first.
That I was gonna be the first.
You
You said I
first.
might be the only person to watch it.
Yes, to pay for it.
Right, to pay for it, right.
Yes.
So we could talk about it from the movie perspective. We could talk about it from what happened with Disney Plus, or we can talk about it from the whole controversy with China. How do you want to jump off on this?
I mean, I didn't see it, so I don't have that much to say. But I told you in many shows past that this is a movie that I think Disney was destined to bomb. They made this movie, you know, they always release a movie in March,
Right.
and every other March movie they release or whatever, they've made bad bombs in March, and this is just one of their bad bombs that they were going to release in March originally, right?
Yes, this was going to be the March.
Okay,
movie.
so this is like this year's John Carter, or this year's, I think it was Mars Needs Moms,
remember there was also Dumbo.
Yeah, poor Dumbo. I wanted that movie to be
Yeah,
really great.
I would if it was good. I would have went to go.
I
see
liked it. It wasn't great or anything.
I
It
didn't
did.
see it.
It didn't tug my heartstrings the way I wanted it to.
No.
No, not as hard as I wanted it to. I was expecting to have some tears,
Right.
maybe.
You wanted to have the tear, yeah.
Yeah,
See, I'm glad you said that because we'll talk about Mulan just in terms of the movie itself first. I didn't hate the movie. I gave it a 7. I thought it was fine.
Which is a great
But
review.
for all the hype and for all the love that I had and for all the years that I had been so waiting for the movie for so long, a 7 is disappointing. It's just not what, what I wanted.
I think you're being, generous. A 7 is a good score.
Yeah, but for a movie that I've been hyping for so long.
Yeah, no, you were rooting for it.
I was rooting
you were
for
rooting
it.
for it, and you're still
And
rooting for it
it
after
just-
the fact. That's why you gave it a 7.
Yeah, it's like
You're trying to convince yourself.
I know. I couldn't push it any further. It was certainly a movie where it just people say these live action remakes are soulless, and I normally don't agree with that. I don't feel like The Lion King is soulless. I don't feel like Beauty and the Beast is soulless. I like the other
Really?
live action remakes,
It's-
but I feel like with this one, it felt a little
Really?
soulless. It felt cold.
Wow, that's funny. It's funny too. Like a thing I read briefly was that the Lion King and those other ones, they got awful. Like on Rotten Tomatoes, they were like bad reviewed, like 50-something% or whatever. This one had better Rotten Tomato reviews, or whatever.
Our late addition to the show.
Yes.
I was in a soundproof box.
Yes, Tim. We couldn't spoil Tenet for you.
I cannot make Tenet at the last minute,
No.
Yeah.
so I had to come in halfway to the show.
Well, perfect timing because we were just talking about Mulan and what an utter, just complete disaster it's been. And I said to Mike, how do you want to go at this? Do you want to talk about the movie itself? Do you want to talk about Disney Plus itself bombing? Or do you want to talk about the China situation? And we were just talking about...
There's so much to talk about.
Yeah, so I was literally just saying to Mike that the movie itself, this was the first Disney remake where I felt like it was soulless. Everyone says like The Lion King is soulless. Everyone feels
What about
like...
Alice in Wonderland?
I didn't see that one.
It was fucking terrible.
Was it bad? Oof. This
And
one,
I liked it, bro.
It didn't hit on any of the things they were supposed to. They say, oh, change the movies. You want to change it. You want to make them different. And you and I have been saying since the beginning, don't change too much. Don't change too much. So much of the movie is so different that it's not even like they remade Mulan. I feel like they just made a Chinese movie and just added Mulan elements. And I think that was its biggest failure.
It's always it's a crapshoot with any of these remakes because you do it too much like the old one. People complain. You don't bring the story the way the old one was. People complain. But you said, I remember when you said that dragon. I'm not familiar with the movie. That dragon character. You're like
Mushu.
The dragon character's not there. He's like he was a major part. Right?
He's the comic relief of the entire film. Eddie Murphy, one of Eddie Murphy's biggest roles.
Now that would probably be hard to translate because it was pretty. It was like a
roles.
grounded movie, right? Like
Yeah, it's a.
how would they be able to put a CGI dragon into the movie?
The problem with the movie is that it's grounded, but there's still like her flying off of like buildings and there's a phoenix now that like she looks at and like gives her inspiration. So there's definitely like a mystical element to the movie. They didn't completely go off the rails and just make it a completely grounded Chinese film. There's elements to it that are magical.
But adding like an Eddie Murphy comedy dragon would have been probably.
Yeah, that would have been.
How are they going to do that?
Yeah, well, that was people.
Probably would have made the movie better.
I guess.
Well, that was the biggest problem people said. The two M's. No music and no Mushu. And I missed the music too. That's the thing. Like, I don't.
Well, did they
like
have the
when they change
music
it too
in?
much.
I guess they did in Lion King. Did they have the music in the Jungle Book one? It's probably the best
I don't
one. It made the
remember
least
Disney.
money.
No, there was music in the Jungle.
Yeah,
Book.
yeah,
there
yeah,
was.
yeah.
Really?
That's why I always say people say don't make it the same thing. You know, make it different. I'm like, no, but Mulan is the example of not.
Jungle
making it
Book
too
was
different.
almost identical to what I remember it being. They had those
Yeah.
Bare Necessities. All those songs were in it.
Okay,
Bare
good.
Necessities,
But that's
yeah.
what makes Disney movies
Yeah,
Disney
yeah.
movies. Those fucking songs and shit.
No, it's
Do you
Sorry,
think,
they turned your movie into a fucking hero with Jet Li.
and not as good.
do you think it would have done this bad in the box office?
Yes,
But
I've
it
been
would have.
saying
it might have made its money back.
No.
Well, no,
You don't
it
think
would've-
so?
well, it wasn't way better.
What
If it
was their
in
budget?
theaters.
Like 250?
The production budget was the 200, but then of course you got to add the 100. At the end of the day, they said all
200.
300.
So
Oh,
no,
and
no.
300.
It's the most
If-
expensive movie they've ever done.
Yeah,
right?
oh, absolutely.
No,
No.
no,
Like more than Star Wars and everything, right?
no.
That's what you were saying.
No.
Well, I also
no.
heard it was the most ever given to a female director, which was in the almost 300 million. All in.
Whatever.
Production budget was 200.
200 million is like top money
Yes.
Yeah,
for
it's
like a
insane.
movie. Not more than Star Wars, but fucking. You just don't spend that kind of money on this kind of movie. I was gonna make a point.
But it
It'll
was-
come back
but
to
it was
me. I'm
supposed to be
sorry.
better, though. That's the thing. Like, I understand that the movie wasn't great, and I'm the first one to say that the movie wasn't great. But it shouldn't have turned out like this. It shouldn't have. Like we were saying on our last show, oh, they would die for 10% on Disney Plus, and you said they're gonna be kissing ass for 5%. Well, it was not even 5%.
I remember
What are the
my
numbers?
point.
What are the
It
numbers?
wasn't going to make the money that. My point was that it was not going to make the money unless it was a hit in China. It was not going to make the money in the U.S.
Well,
box
that's the thing.
office.
They needed China to be a big part.
What?
of
That's
it.
what they made the movie for. You made that point before you even when you were
Yeah,
talking
that's what they
about.
really moved. They were filming next to concentration camps.
Yes,
Oh,
yes, that's the
And,
controversy now.
thanking them in the credits.
Yeah, that's so.
That's why this thing has been such a disaster on every level. So let's go back to the Disney Plus element for a minute. Yeah, like I looked at the numbers, and no one actually knows the numbers. They say they looked
Right.
at downloads, and Screen Rant had an article saying it was like 34, 35 million, which is really the only information we have. So we kind of have to go off.
Which
of it.
is not a good opening week. In the box office, $35 million on a $200 million budget
it's
movie
horrendous.
is not a good opening
Yeah.
weekend. You're not even close.
No, remember even Frank said this movie's probably gonna make $75 million. Well, right now between the 35 million on downloads and the I think the 25 to 30 million it made in China. Right now it's at like 60 million.
That's what it's at right now?
Yeah, yeah. I saw a video today that had a headline said Mulan is going to probably lose. Mostly going to lose over $200 million. This is going to be forget making your money back. This is going to be a monstrous loss.
So that might be one. It might be one of the biggest flops ever of all time. What movie has lost $200 million?
Well, we always talk about John Carter, Mike. John Carter.
Yeah, that was a big
Wasn't
one,
that
yeah.
$150 million loss?
Probably at
That
least
was
that was like
yeah.
probably a $200 million movie also.
Bro, they said that Lion King made more money in China last year than Mulan. Now, granted, obviously last year was a different situation.
Why is it not? Why is it? Well, first of a lot of questions here. What are the actual like? How many more downloads did Disney Plus get and everything for this? Like subscribers?
I think they said it increased. They didn't give the actual number of downloads.
See, it's always a mystery with
but
this
they
bullshit.
they
they
said
don't
it was
give
an
numbers.
increase like 65%.
65%.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
The downloads spiked for that weekend 65%.
Okay, the downloads of on a normal week went up
What-
65%.
right.
Download get subscribing to Disney Plus,
Yes,
and then they counted the downloads for.
I would. Say,
We don't know what that number
Yeah, we
is.
don't. That's the
Actually
thing. We
paying for the movie.
Yeah, just like
no, we
just
don't
like
know.
they
They'll
put
never
out.
tell
No, they'll
us.
never
So
tell.
I think
No.
they bullshit their fucking box office numbers.
Yeah, but
in
hey,
some
if we're hearing
cases.
that from alternative sources that the movie made $35 million on Disney Plus, that's horrible. That's literally like I did the math. It was like 1.1 million. So we were saying, oh, if 10 million people pay the $30, they'll make its money back. Well, it was 1/10 of that. 1 million, a little over 1 million accounts bought this movie.
Well,
Me being one of them.
the virus put a damper, and I think they
100%.
said it is what it is, but they didn't plan on it doing not well in China. It's why isn't it doing well in China?
I think.
And two, they didn't plan on this fucking concentration camp thing
See,
fucking hurting them.
that's what
now, how
happened.
much is that hurting them? It probably is hurting
the bad
them.
reviews, or you notice the mediocre reviews, and the whole. Because I heard China now is doing the thing where they're suppressing like any knowledge of them. Like they don't want people even talking about the movie now. They're like keep everything closed. They don't want people to talk. So now maybe
Because
the
of
citizens.
that.
Yeah. So maybe now the citizens are now afraid. Like they don't want to go see it. The government's kind of telling them not
Well,
to see it. So you
it
don't know
put
what
a
this culture is
highlight.
over
I don't
there.
think majority of Americans even knew there are concentration camps right now
No.
in China. This put a light on
Yeah.
it for people to
Right.
say,
People
"Oh
are
wait, I don't even know what's going
boycotting
on." here."
Disney Plus, and they're boycotting Mulan. People are saying they don't even want to.
I heard,
Do
the
anything.
hashtag boycott Mulan is
Yeah.
on Twitter.
So
It's the recipe for the worst case scenario.
Exactly.
Basically, what happened.
I think even if everything went smooth and they released it in theaters, it wasn't like maybe it wouldn't have been a total fucking disaster, but it would have not made its money.
No, it would have been. It would have.
They were hoping it was going to make $1 billion. They were shooting for $1 billion.
That's not a well.
But I'm saying that was the goal.
Dude, this
If
isn't
they-
like
if they
I
could
know you
sign on
love.
paper, they'd release this in theaters on a normal situation. Then take what they have now. But yes, I don't think it would have been
No,
a
no,
big hit.
no, I don't think so either. That's why they're releasing it in March.
It was supposed to come out in March.
Yeah, it was supposed to come out. That was the original. That's how long we've been talking about it. It's like we've been talking about this movie forever, and for it to turn out like this, they literally hit it a failure just on every level. And again, that's not to say that I thought the movie was garbage or that it was horrible.
They were counting on overseas. They were counting on China box
time,
office. This
yeah.
movie was, that's what it was.
it's
Unfortunately,
flopping in China too. That's
And-
the thing.
and-
It's flopping in China.
And I've seen the cartoon one, and it's
Great.
it's a good movie. It's a really good movie. But this movie, I just never.
The biggest problem with it is like I said, it felt soulless. And for a $200 million production budget, I said in my review, the movie felt kind of cheap.
You said in your review, you said for the amount of money they spent, you said the CGI was kind of spotty.
The CGI was spotty,
Which is
and the
pretty
green
crazy.
screen was not good. Like for a movie that cost $200 million, it didn't feel like it did. I'm like, yeah, some of the scenery looks nice, and the costume design is beautiful, and it's a nice movie to look at. But when I'm seeing like the weird CGI de-aged face and the weird background that is clearly not
They
blended
do
as
de-aging
well.
in it.
Yeah, her father in the beginning, you can kind of tell his face is like kind of like weirdly like pasted onto the head. Like that's why we're spoiled. Like a lot of the Star Wars movies have like, and Irishman, of course, even had a little trouble, but mostly did it really well. You're seeing like, oh, that doesn't look too like too many times in the movie. I was like, oh, that doesn't look too good. That doesn't look too good.
Because I guess it was supposed to be like a more of a children's audience, so I guess they kind of cut corners.
But they
there.
gave it a PG-13 though.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's supposed to be a Chinese war
I
movie.
think-
And
I
she's
could be-
notice she's cutting people up with the sword. There's no blood in the movie. There's
course
not
not.
one.
Of
Was
course
she
not.
good?
blood.
Is she good?
Yeah, she's good. She's a good Mulan. Yeah, like I had no problem with that.
She's. I know that the whole thing she like supports the
I heard that was part of the problem too.
communist China
she was
and
supporting
they're
the
not
police.
supporting Hong Kong.
Yeah.
But is she like speaks perfect English?
No, yeah, her English is fine.
Like sounds like an American.
At no point did I say, "Oh, that was a rough
Okay,
line."
so she
Again,
must live here, I guess.
I,
now.
I think I'm not sure. I don't know her story,
Yeah.
but definitely felt like it's a movie where, for all the money they put on screen,
That's the other thing we didn't even mention, that the main lead actor, is like supports like communist China. She like denounced Hong Kong basically.
yeah, exactly.
She made a
yes.
statement
This
about
is
it.
like one of the
Yes.
controversies.
Yeah.
about
Yeah,
the
that,
movie.
yeah.
that's been part of the boycott Mulan
Yeah,
thing.
part of
Some
it.
people are just forgetting the camps.
Yeah,
They're just
thing.
looking at her and
Yeah,
saying,
exactly.
"Nah, I don't want to deal
Yeah.
with that." And that's why it's just going to be a complete disaster on every level. I don't know how it got to this point.
Will this halter their decision making, how it has with Star Wars, that we got to pump the brakes with these remakes a little bit here? This is not good.
Not
Well,
with Star Wars.
they're
No, meaning like they kind of
I
take.
understand what you're saying. I think maybe so with their like remakes of the animated classics.
Yeah.
I know like Zemeckis is doing Pinocchio right now,
So
or
they're in-
developing.
Yeah.
Well, what I meant was
Little
like
Mermaid
they
being
they
remade.
realized Star Wars was not doing well, and they
Yeah.
took a break from it. I think they're going to do that with these remakes. Little Mermaid is set to come out.
I was
Pinocchio,
going to
right?
say they're already working on the next 2 years.
Little
worth.
Mermaid is another one that could be fucking horrible.
I know people
it could
that
be
are
horrible.
hyped and
It will be.
dying to
I
see
mean, it won't
Little
be.
Mermaid.
Maybe it won't be horrible, but there's no way it'll be better than the original cartoon.
No, it can't. It can't be. Even the Lion King, as hyped as I was for Lion King,
Right.
I
Yeah,
knew it was going to be good.
That's
as the
why I don't
original.
need to see the fucking Lion King remake, because there's no fucking way it's better than the cartoon.
No, it can't be. No.
So
I'll say one thing that I almost forgot before. Some of the few spots here and there, the CGI was a little rough, and I said, "Oh, okay, that doesn't look too good." There was one point I was watching the movie with some friends of mine where something happened, and all three of us were like, "Yo, what is up with that?" Something looked so bad.
Really?
And all three of us in the room watching it were like, "Yo, what is up with that? That is horrible."
Oh my god.
And I'm like, that's how you know, like, okay, what happened here? It's a beautiful movie in some ways, but in other ways, it just looked terrible.
No, I knew it. I told
It
you for
shouldn't have-
months.
it shouldn't have
Did
been
I
like
not
this.
tell
It
you
shouldn't
for
have been like
months,
this.
Eric? Did I not tell you for months that this movie is gonna suck?
You did, but
Okay.
but look at what happened to make it all these problems.
Well, I still think.
the dominoes have been falling.
To
Well,
be,
the movie
okay,
was done. It wouldn't have changed the outcome of the movie. The virus didn't
You
affect the movie.
were the biggest fan for this movie, and you were super disappointed for it.
I was.
No,
7 is disappointing considering how I've been thinking about this movie.
see,
for
I
3
think
or 4
7
years.
is a very good score. That's why I don't
think
give
it's-
shit numbers. You know what I mean?
I know.
But that's okay.
Remember, we talked about it in Portchester. I was like, dude, they're making Lion King, they're making Aladdin, they're making Mulan. And now look how it turned out. Which is just
Because you know why? Because Mulan is not the Lion King and it's not Aladdin. Those movies are masterpieces. Mulan is a very good movie. It is a good Disney movie. I think like it's the movies came out before, like Hercules and Pocahontas and The Hunchback were not as good. Like after The Lion King, it started to go downhill a little bit for me.
No, that's
And
true.
then Mulan was like, okay, maybe they can come back a little
Mulan
bit
was
after
late 90s,
those
that was
movies.
98, so
But still, like that movie is not Aladdin or
to me
those.
it's almost those.
I know you are. I know you're a big fan, man. I'm sorry that your movie was not good.
Well, you know, I'll give Disney Plus a little bit of credit. You know, we've been shitting on them this whole time. I like the fact that when you bought the movie for the $30, you owned the movie. Remember we were talking about that last
Do
time.
you own it?
You own it, yes.
Okay,
You
that's
want-
not
yeah.
a bad
So-
deal.
so
That's
Disney
not a
Plus-
bad
No,
deal.
they had to do
Yeah,
that.
you own the film.
You fucking rent the movie.
But
for
they won't do that
$30.
in the future. If this shit
Probably not.
continues, I
Yeah,
guarantee you
probably
won't
not.
Own the
fucking.
movie, and they're gonna. And they announced, hey, give them credit too. They announced in advance, which they didn't have to do. I think the day the movie came out on the Friday, they said, hey, in 2 months, in early December, the movie will be free. So if you don't want to pay the $30 for they called it Premiere Access, you can watch it in December, which will be good for Christmas.
Good form, Disney.
Yeah, I
Good
thought they did a
form.
good job on that. It's just they didn't. At the end of the day, we can.
But
talk
they
about
won't
all this
continue
controversy
that
all we
shit.
want. They
Enjoy it
didn't-
while it lasts. If
Yeah.
this shit keeps going.
So that's the last time a female director gets $300 million.
That could be rough. That could be bad.
They
just
can
kidding.
get.
Yeah.
They can get.
Hey, listen. I don't know. I can't speak to Nikki Caro. I don't know what was going on behind the scenes. I don't know what happened. I'm sure she had a lot of corporate overlords. She had to deal with a lot of China
course.
stuff, a lot of Disney stuff. I think she
Oh
helmed-
God, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
But absolutely.
I'm sure you know she did the best job she could. I don't blame her for the movie. I just think that the decisions that they went into the film with were just not the right decisions. They should have kept more to the animated. They're not only keeping to the animated. There are scenes that are so important in the animated film they're so key. I've told you, like the scene where with music and she cuts the hair off and all that.
What the fuck did they spend $200 million on? Then? I feel like they probably could have
extras,
made it equally as good
costumes.
or better movie for $100 million.
They probably
They had
did.
to donate $50 million to the concentration camp.
There you
my
go.
God.
Yeah, no, forget about it, bro. They make too much money over there. The fucking
Yeah.
All right, well, Mulan's dead. I don't know.
Yeah.
So we finally put Mulan to bed.
Sorry, Eric.
Yeah, that's all right. Hey, listen, if that's the worst disappointment of the year, then fine, I'll take it. But let's take a moment and remind
In a year of
everyone out there
disappointments.
that we're here live on YouTube. So make sure you follow us. Like, comment, subscribe. We want to hear from you. So, Danny, is there anything going on in the comments? Anything? Anybody asking us? Going on? No. All right. So, okay. So, guys, we like to have a good time on this podcast where we're joking around, laughing, but unfortunately, a couple weeks ago we had some sad news that we heard that Chadwick Boseman passed away, and this was a shock. I remember it literally. I was watching the Yankee game, and I was listening to Michael Caine. He just mentioned, he's like, "Oh, for all you Marvel fans out there, Chadwick Boseman passed away." I was like, "Whoa! What are you talking about? What's going on?" I was shocked. I texted you.
I knew when you
immediately.
texted me. I
You knew right away?
I think I saw it early on like Twitter or something.
You did.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Mike called me. He was like, "Dude, what just happened?" And I said, "Unfortunately, Chadwick Boseman passed away, and I think he was like 43 years old, and it was just really sad."
It's really sad.
It's terrible.
It was a shock. No one knew he was sick. Or
Yeah, no one even knew he was
Which
sick.
is what I was most surprised about in this day and age, 2020. I don't know how you can keep something like that under wraps with paparazzi, and
Yeah.
I don't know how that didn't leak.
That just means like all the people that knew liked him, and they knew to keep that shit secret.
exactly.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
But
Respect
still,
them.
it's very crazy that it was kept secret. But yeah, rest in peace, man. They're gonna have a big decisions to make with that movie and that franchise. I don't know what the right step is gonna be.
Yeah, I don't know either.
don't know.
Well, they're gonna go forward with
They
it.
have to.
No, they have to.
But
they're
everyone's
business.
saying either there's three options. You get someone to replace him, which is
Yeah, I don't know.
you bring back Killmonger somehow as a
Yeah.
good guy.
I heard people float that
or
around.
sure,
They're just gonna have to
or it
replace
goes
him.
to his sister becomes the Black Panther.
That I've heard.
Yeah,
Killmonger,
that's
I've heard
like the
Shuri.
number one theory, and
Yeah.
that might be a smart,
it's somewhat believable. I mean, she takes the
It's
mushroom
the
and
suit,
puts the suit
isn't
on.
it?
Like,
Yeah.
it seems like almost anyone can. The mushroom, the herb is what.
Yeah, the purple thing, the plant.
So
It's just I gotta give Boseman credit too, because now that he's passed away, I went back and looked at his filmography, and he was a guy that he always picked like roles that he felt like were important to him. He wanted a positive message. So I haven't seen all of his movies, but I did see when he played Jackie Robinson in 42 was good. Harrison Ford was in 42. He played Branch Rickey. He was the GM who brought Jackie Robinson in. I didn't see him in the Marshall film where he played Thurgood Marshall.
James Brown movie.
Yeah, get on.
I didn't see it.
I heard he was really good in that. He always picked roles that he thought were like he wanted to like put a positive spin on like the African American culture and like let people know like the impact that they had.
they're gonna probably become iconic roles now.
They probably will.
Anyone who passes early that was talented.
He was into Five Bloods that I watched earlier in the year with Spike Lee, and not an amazing role, but a really good one. That's the thing. He was definitely a guy. When I look back at his roles, he was good in everything he was in, and obviously people had a lot of love for him. They kept his secret, and they wrote crazy like tributes to him. It was just really nice. But
he means a lot to a lot of people,
No, they're definitely like you never really realize it until they're gone. But hearing people talk about like how he was that next level of African American superhero, like we've had like guys like Blade in the past that were like good for a lot of people that they looked up to, but seeing how he was like the first one for like little kids.
Yeah, and kids didn't watch Blade.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, of course not. It's an R-rated movie. It's a good point.
Say, he was the first African.
So,
no, he was the first big Marvel, which obviously put it into the cultural mainstream.
Yeah.
So hearing that,
that's what it is. It's about the kids the most.
I thought that
was awesome. I didn't see a lot of his. I think the only movie I never watched those movies that he did. No. I saw Black Panther, and I wasn't like crazy about it or anything. He was
just good in it.
But I'll tell you, like, it's funny. Like, I wasn't like a diehard fan of this guy or anything. But like when I saw the news, it really like kind of got to me.
Same with me.
Me too. Bothered me, because he was good because he's 43.
Yeah. I actually thought he was even a little bit younger than
me too. He's in great shape. I didn't think. If you told me before he passed, I would have said he was like 35. Me too.
Or less, yeah.
And give him credit too. Last thing I'll say about it also, give the guy a ton of credit. He was working, doing these superhero roles,
while going through all that treatment,
doing Civil War, and doing Defy Bloods, and doing all these films.
Well, not only that, dude. This guy was visiting kids with like the same, like all that shit. He was like a good dude, man. And like I feel bad. I feel obviously it's sad, and I feel bad for his family, but I also feel bad for like little kids, and especially like little black kids and shit.
Yeah.
This is a big deal for
I heard
them.
there was little kids in the hospital he was visiting that were like they wanted to see Black Panther before anything
no,
happened. I'm like, yo, when I hear that,
he was doing, but like knowing now, like like this dude is suffering the same way they are,
Whatever they do, it has to be a tremendous
tribute,
on-screen tribute too.
Yeah.
Somehow
it's like
I don't
it's sad
think
because
they're just gonna have to replace him.
It's sad because you have to unfortunately
but like I think I dude, like not to be like too early about it or anything.
No, listen, it's part of the conversation.
I think this guy from Tenet, what's his name, John David Washington. Dude, he's a great actor, this guy, and I think I told you before I saw Tenet, and I saw he was great in Black Klansman.
He was awesome in that.
I think
very funny.
I think that's a good choice. If Disney's gonna replace, or they're gonna keep going.
They have to.
It's $1 billion franchise.
It's part of the game, unfortunately.
They have to.
They have to.
The girl, the sister thing is a safe bet.
And it's from the comics, so
I think
they can rock with it.
But I think if they're gonna replace him, he's a good choice. I told you like my theory, which I hope to God they don't. If they go the woke way.
Yeah.
Jesse Smollett.
That would be a disaster.
Oh God! Oh my God!
They would boycott the movie.
That wouldn't surprise me, man.
Yeah.
It would not surprise me these days. Nothing surprises me.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, I was gonna say so.
For real.
I love the hashtag that was going around.
Right, and like I said,
the King. I thought that was friggin' awesome because he's like the king of Wakanda.
I
thought that was so dope. Great tribute.
It bothered me. You know what I mean? Like when he died, it really did.
Yeah.
And I wasn't like a huge fan. I don't like the Black Panther movie that much. You know, and I don't think it's whatever.
Yeah.
Rest in peace for sure.
Rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman, man. All right, so on to our next topic of the night. Let's get to our fan questions. And Mike, you had some questions that you wanted to pull up. Our boy Quinn.
Yes.
He was by Quinn, so he's number one fan. He's always gonna provide us with the entertainment that we need. Get some of our questions out
Quinn
there.
asks good questions.
Yeah, so let's
Quinn knows movies and he asks good questions.
Get to him first.
I have to find it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, okay, hold on.
Yeah, we'll find.
All right, so he said,
what
okay,
was the
with the
first question?
Snyder cut,
Okay.
he said now with, oh my God, now I have to read on the thing. With the Snyder cut and now Francis Ford Coppola planning to release the newer version of Godfather 3, is this setting a good or bad precedent, or do we care whether or not a movie gets redone again? Meaning an old movie where they just go tinker with it.
I think it needs to be tinkered with because everyone hates Godfather 3.
Okay.
If they're gonna go back and try to make Godfather 1 or 2, obviously no. But
Right,
I think he wants
okay.
to right the wrongs of that movie that no one likes.
It is setting a crazy precedent though, because you heard Stallone's redoing Rocky 4. Like all these guys are starting to redo their movies now. That's why it's such a great question.
How's he gonna?
He said he's re-editing. He says he's gonna like take out like Paul. Oh, he says he's gonna like
He's
take
taking
out
out a
Paulie's
robot. He's taking out the robot.
Yeah. So I'm like, so if these directors are start like
That
trimming
robot is a
fat-
memorable part of that movie, though.
listen,
I don't
if
care
it's
if they
being
take that
trimmed, but Godfather 1 and 2 to Godfather 3 is one of the biggest disappointments
Of
all
course, and
cinema
that's
of all
actually
time.
Quinn's second question. Well, you can get to that in a minute. I mean, kind of, but go ahead.
So I honestly don't have too much of a problem with it setting a precedent. It's a little bit dangerous with these directors, but I do think if
You
you're
don't
gonna
like it.
I don't like it. I don't. But it's funny. Like this is why Quinn is good, because he asked the question here. If he mentions the Snyder cut and then he mentions the Godfather 3 thing.
Yeah.
Okay. In the Snyder cut's case, yes, because
Yeah,
I
I'm
want to
fine with
see the real director's vision.
He had something that happened to him that he couldn't finish the movie. He wasn't
Right. Well,
supposed
I
to.
think it was like a
He
couple
didn't-
of things.
He
Like
didn't fuck something up and 40 years later have to remake a movie.
Yeah, no, that's the thing.
right. But
Yeah,
I'm
totally
also
fine with it.
and we'll get into this in a second. But fucking. So that's my opinion on that. In the case of like that, where a director was like forced off a project, and he had an opportunity to make it the best he could, the vision he had intended. But in the case of a movie that's made, like The Godfather 3, yes, like The Godfather 1 and 2, to me, and to a lot of people, are probably in the top 5 greatest movies of all time.
Yeah, I put at least one of them in there. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. The Godfather 3 doesn't hold a candle to the other ones. And there's tons of stories on why or whatever, but if a movie's out already, it's fucking done, man. Like, don't go back and tinker. And there's many instances of this where it is upsetting, where in E.T., for example, in the end of the original ones, there's like feds or cops or whatever chasing the kids as they're trying to get away.
Right.
They have guns in their hands. Yeah. Spielberg went back and like replaced them with like walkie-talkies and shit.
Oh, I remember hearing about
but
that.
In my opinion, and an even better example is Star Wars, the original trilogy.
Yeah.
Where he goes
That's
back
a good example. And the other part is you can't even find the original movies anymore.
You can buy them. You can buy the fucking VHS on eBay for a lot of money.
But they're
I'm
like
sure.
scrubbed
they're
from
buried
everything.
in
I don't even remember seeing
Me neither.
the original.
No, I used to, dude. I wish I still had them. To be honest with you, I had like the VHS trilogy.
Because now I've seen the remade ones so much that I can't even remember.
Same for
what
me.
they
I
were.
don't remember seeing the original.
You know which
Well, you
ones
know
he
the
did the
CG
CGI and
bullshit.
stuff.
Yeah,
but
which is
yeah,
bad.
yeah. But
that's the perfect example. That's why that question is tricky.
I'll say this though, he went back and changed Empire, right, when it wasn't Ewan McDermott.
Well, when they tied it, and didn't they put Anakin in there also?
No.
What's his
when,
face?
when you first see the Emperor, when he bows as what's thy bidding, my master?
Right.
That's originally was not.
See,
that was a different actor.
See, I didn't remember.
You have to
that.
go.
So
It's on
buried.
YouTube. YouTube that scene.
Okay, I got to.
And then when they redid, when they hired him for Jedi,
Right.
they went back and put the
Ian
new
McDermott
scene
right
in
back
Empire.
Okay.
So that worked in that scene because
Yeah,
if you watch it,
Yeah.
it looks fucking horrible. The original.
I think
his
I've
makeup
seen
and
it.
shit and
Oh, it
it's-
looks like it's like his nose,
his
all
eyes,
messed up.
all- yeah.
I remember seeing that. And be like,
It's-
what is this? It's so strange.
So it works sometimes. I don't think you can
I think
make
the
a
answer
blanket
is
statement and
it's a
say,
case-by-case
you
basis.
can't say it's never gonna
Man,
work.
if there's a movie that's a classic movie, and I don't know if Godfather 3 is a classic movie, but it's part of a classic
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
series.
But what if they make it and you watch it and you're like, wow, this is fucking 10 times better.
I
It's
mean,
really
like,
good.
you have to take the risk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
Maybe
what's
I
his
guess.
second question.
Okay, his second question is, I'm sorry.
No
Excuse
problem.
me. What movies part of a franchise were considered bad or disappointing because they didn't live up to the previous movie of the series, the original, but are still decent if you review them on their own merits? And he threw out examples of his own. He threw out Alien 3 and the Hobbit trilogy.
Okay. I would say, because I've actually done a video, 5 most disappointing films on the Instagram page. So I got to say that, again, these aren't bad films, but just like you said, disappointing.
Right. It's not
Terminator 3 is a massive disappointment. It was never going to be 1 and 2.
Right, but his question is like they're still good.
Right.
Do you still think Terminator 3? Okay.
It's not great.
I got you.
And the other one I could throw at you, which Tim, I'm sure you've seen too, Spider-Man 3 with Tobey Maguire. Not an awful film,
Just doesn't live up to the.
It's just, especially 2 being so good with Doc Ock, and of course we could talk about Star Wars all day. Obviously Episode 8 didn't live up to the love that I think 7 got, especially with all the previous films. But what's one that you would say? Is there a certain film in a franchise that definitely disappointed you?
Some that you love the original, but the second one is not as good, but it's still a good movie.
Yeah. Alien 3 is a good one.
That is, but a lot of Alien. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think this is an opinion out there. It's not my opinion, but don't they say that with The Last Crusade? Don't people don't like The Last Crusade?
I don't know why. I don't know because I think I think
that's a good consensus out there, right?
I don't think
yes.
really?
It's like
that was the biggest movie. That movie
because the first
worldwide made more money than Batman in 1989. Those movies.
I love it.
Yeah, I love it too. I think it's a masterpiece.
It might be one of my
I think it's
favorite
just
ones.
as good as all the rest of them.
But it's the same thing they talk about with Jedi. Doesn't live up to episodes 4 and 5.
Jedi's not a bad film at all.
I like Jedi. As a kid, that was my favorite one.
Yeah.
Okay. So, is there another one, Tim, that you could think of off the top of your head that's a certain sequel, maybe?
Well,
you could say with the other India, with Crystal Skull. You don't hate that
Yeah.
movie. It's
No,
clearly not as good as the other ones.
That's like way after the fact and everything, though. But yeah, it's.
No one remembers that movie.
Yeah, it's. I enjoyed it.
I liked it too, but it's nowhere near the other 3.
There's probably a ton of these examples, but
yeah,
unfortunately, it happens in music too. If you put out a solo debut album that's like an insanely, it's a masterpiece. It's always hard to follow it up.
Yeah,
it's not easy.
Song.
Yeah,
it's just so hard.
Yeah.
All right, so as usual, Quinn, the great questions.
Yeah, I didn't even get to give my answer.
Oh, you didn't? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, real quick.
Go ahead.
Real quick.
I didn't realize.
I got to think about it,
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so like easy examples for me is movies like Predator 2,
Okay.
Batman Returns, Die Hard 2. Okay.
Die Hard 2 is a good one. Die Hard 2 is a good one.
All 3 of those for me, like Predator and Die Hard to me, and I think to a lot of people, but to me personally, are the 2 greatest action movies ever. Okay, so they have sequels that come out. I remember when these first came out in theaters, like people, they didn't make a lot of money like the originals or whatever, and people are like, oh, they're disappointed. Today, those movies are like masterpieces compared to the shit that they put out today, for real.
So much slop.
Batman Returns, I mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
I would put Batman Returns above both of Nolan's movies except for Dark Knight.
Really?
Yes, I'd rather watch that.
Not me.
Yeah, I can't.
I would, dude. Like
I can't. It's too old for me. It just doesn't
I'm
hold
sorry,
up as much.
bro.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's my opinion. That's my opinion.
You grew up with it.
But
you love it.
Yeah, no, I understand like what Nolan, and I love Batman Begins. Really, like
Batman
I love it.
Batman Begins is awesome.
Yeah, but like if you're gonna put Batman Begins or Batman Returns in a plate in front of me, I'm gonna watch Batman Returns first.
All right.
I'm sorry.
Hey, listen, to each his own, man. All right, so we'll move to our next question from X_movie_films. He asks us, have you seen Gone with the Wind? If so, what do you think? If not, will you be planning to watch it? Well, I'll tell you right now, I have never seen Gone with the Wind.
I
it's
haven't either. I know it's considered one of the best movies ever made.
I can't. It's like 4 hours. I just can't see it myself. Have you seen it, Mike?
I have seen it.
What came out in the 1930s?
Yeah.
Yes, it's like antebellum South stuff. It's a masterpiece. I've only seen it once, and it's been a while, or whatever. It is over 4 hours long, but
over 4 hours.
4 hours or more.
Wow. Okay.
I just remember it's like fucking long ass movie.
I can't. My parents always tell me like, "Oh, that's a movie you should definitely go see one day." I'm like, I don't know if I'm ever gonna work up the nerve to watch.
Why?
It. I just don't know if I would care.
Dude, it's a fucking masterpiece.
For me, when I think
It's
about
like
old
a
classics-
grand old movie, man.
My favorite old movie was The Wizard of Oz, though. Like, they're from
Dude,
that
it's the
era.
same level. They're the same.
Really?
Those movies were released the same year and competed for Best Picture Oscar.
Oh,
Was it
1939.
1939?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So maybe I'll have to put that on my list. For
Dude, it's a great movie.
39,
It really
bro.
is.
That's
It's
so fucking long.
It's
ago.
another lifetime ago, man.
But if you watch, like, well, just give it a shot, man. If you like Wizard of Oz, everyone likes the Wizard of
Everyone
Oz.
likes
That's a timeless movie.
Okay.
Timeless.
You know what I
I'll
mean?
do that. All right. Okay. So thank you very much, X_movie_films. We'll try to see Gone with the Wind.
And if you haven't seen it, watch it. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
Really good movie. It's a classic movie.
Okay. Next question from Instagram. Matthew's Movies. He asked us, what's our favorite zombie film? And Mike, this is a question that we've actually answered before.
Yeah.
But I actually have another answer I can give because I've watched some more zombie movies in the past couple months.
Okay.
I watched that Korean zombie film, Train to Busan.
Okay,
It's on
yeah.
Netflix. I would tell anyone out there, that movie is friggin' amazing.
I just saw a thing for it. I was thinking about watching.
Absolute must. If you like zombie movies even a little bit, it's fantastic. It's probably automatically now one of my favorite zombie movies. It's that good. I still love Dawn of the Dead. I still love Shaun of the Dead. Great movies. But I think Train to Busan is like insanely good, and I think
Really?
it's worth especially
Isn't
being on
there
Netflix.
two of them now on Netflix,
They made
right?
a sequel called Peninsula. It's
Okay.
not on Netflix yet, but
Oh,
I'm definitely
okay,
gonna check that
okay.
out. So, Mike, the usual for you, Shaun
Yeah,
of the
no,
Dead
for
still,
sure.
right?
I haven't seen Train to Busan. It's on my watch list.
Must
I just
watch.
haven't gotten around to it. I've heard really good things of this movie called One Cut of the Dead.
Okay.
Japanese movie, I think.
Interesting.
I haven't seen that yet either, but for me, Shaun of the Dead is...
Still.
and I was never like a big zombie fan.
Yeah, I'm not a big zombie guy either.
Okay.
either.
But Shaun of the Dead is a brilliant movie.
Have you seen Shaun of the Dead, Tim? Awesome.
Yeah,
Great.
It's really great.
All right. So thank you very much, Matthew's Movies. Hope we answered your question. Last question of the evening from Behind Curtain on Instagram. What are your thoughts on Hollywood's recent remake announcement of classic movies? So I did a little research, and I found out that, guys, there are so many remakes.
That's all it is.
of
It's always
old
been for
classic
years
movies
now.
that you would not believe are being made. So I'm going to run off a few for you guys here and just give me your thoughts
Should
on
be
the fact
fun.
that they're remaking all of these. Some of these shocked me. I knew some of these blew me away.
Mm.
They're remaking Dirty Dancing.
Of course they are.
That
they
doesn't-
probably have
that
been
doesn't
trying to
shock
do
me.
that for
Okay.
years.
I don't know
now.
why, but okay.
Surprised they haven't done it already.
Hey, did you know they're remaking Twister?
Oh, that's
Bill
terrible.
Paxton?
Hey,
Why?
Bill Paxton, rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace, Bill
For
Paxton.
sure, man. That guy's great.
Because
Yeah.
they think they can do.
But the Twister was a terrible
more,
movie.
CGI. Yeah.
Twister was
That's
awful.
actually one that they should. I don't mind them remaking.
Yeah,
It
because
doesn't surprise me because it's a dumb fucking
Right,
Yeah,
movie.
it's
It's like,
important
oh,
enough movie to care.
and they could actually make it better than the original, probably.
Right, yeah.
Nah.
Okay, you guys knew they were remaking Scarface, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah, of
horrible.
Okay, so
course.
we know that.
Horrible,
Okay.
Scarface itself is a remake, you guys know.
Yes, it's from like 50 years prior.
30s
Sure.
or like old days
Right.
movies.
We all know that we heard they're doing female reboot of Pirates of the Caribbean. Whatever. I don't know what that's gonna mean. We know that they're redoing Scream. They're bringing the whole cast back. For the next
Really?
Scream. Yeah.
Shut the
they
fuck
just
up.
announced,
So
you didn't
if
hear
they're-
this? They just announced a couple days ago that they're bringing back the whole cast, and Nev Campbell signed on.
She always comes back.
I'll have to watch that. I was a big.
I've never
Scream
seen any of the
fan.
Scream movies.
I was
Well,
a huge
Scream
fan.
1 is
That's
like a-
that's like 90s rolled into like.
Well,
yeah.
It's a time capsule.
Scream
of the
1
night.
is
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
fucking watershed movie. That was like an extremely important movie in history. It's
I
like
think
horror
Scream-
was
yeah.
dead,
Yeah.
and Scream fucking came out
Scream
and
1 is.
brought Scream.
I think it's great.
Yeah, no, it is. It is great
Before we had
for
caller,
sure.
before we had caller ID
Yeah,
on those
yeah.
old phones.
It might be the best horror movie of the 90s.
It might
It's
be.
possible. They're bringing what's another one that they're doing? They're doing Legally Blonde 3, which again a sequel to the first. I saw the
that
first
has like a
two.
cult following. It's
It
on
does.
Broadway.
Legally Blonde was a good movie.
I
I,
saw-
haven't
first one
seen
was
it in a
good.
long
I
time.
honestly, I like that's a big.
Illegal one was
I
good.
like the first two.
When,
For
it
some
came,
odd
when
reason,
I
that's
saw
like
it when
a
it first came out on DVD, and I liked it.
Huge cult following.
I'll throw a few more at you guys. They're remaking Wolfman. They're
Of course.
They're making Knight Rider, and they're remaking. You said Peter Pan before.
They've
Peter
made Peter
Pan.
Pan a whole bunch of times.
Oh no, I'm sorry. You said Pinocchio before, but they're also doing.
They're making a
Peter
bunch
Pan.
of.
Peter
They're
Pan.
making a bunch of versions of Pinocchio.
They're doing a live action Peter Pan.
Yes.
They've done it already.
Well, it says
No,
here.
they've
Let me
done
see.
Hook.
It says Peter Pan.
Well, no, there was that stupid
Yeah, it's-
Johnny Depp
Oh
movie.
yes, I didn't even fucking see that.
It says it. Yes, they're. It's gonna
I
be a
think they
live
did
action
another
remake.
like Pan movie, like a different live action Peter Pan movie. Also, that was like a big
Hook
bomb.
was fantastic.
Hook was
I
good
like
because it
Hook.
was like a
Robin
twist.
Williams.
It's Spielberg, bro.
Yeah, it wasn't. We're not showing Peter Pan as a little kid. It was a
Right. It was
I
like
lo- I lo-
it was like
perfectly
Peter
done.
Pan
Awesome,
with a
yeah.
little twist. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
he fucking grew up and forgot.
Okay, the last one I'll throw at you guys, the last two I'll throw at you is they're doing Candyman, which we know is coming out next year.
I'm
happy about that.
Please, you're happy.
Yeah, I think I'm
It has
interested.
potential.
I wanna see
It
the
has
original.
The original
potential.
Candyman is really good.
Yes, I was gonna say like no movie other than when I was like real young, like Candyman might be the scariest movie. Like
did
that
tell me that.
scared me the most.
Me too.
Ever.
But
when I first saw that,
I
shit.
think it's good because I don't think a lot of people know about Candyman.
They don't.
It's underrated.
It is underrated.
It's got its
I think with like
followers.
Netflix and shit, more people.
Like if you say Jason,
I think
Michael
it has
Myers, like no one knows. Like a person
He's
Right.
Second
Okay,
tier.
fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair
Second
enough.
tier.
Yeah.
The last one I'll throw at you guys. There's
Candyman was a shit though, for
like
sure.
it.
Yo,
They're
that movie
doing-
is fucking great. The original one, and the new one has potential to at least be a hit,
I think so,
make a
too.
lot of money, but also be a good movie.
I agree.
So I
agree.
hope
I'm
so.
hyped for it.
I hope so.
The last one I'll throw at you guys are doing a Gen Z remake of American Pie. I
Oh, get out of here!
I don't
Fuck
know.
that
Yeah,
shit.
I don't
They've
care.
done a
Why'd you
million
even-
of those every year. Every couple of years they come out with them. They're like straight to DVD versions.
and they're
though.
awful.
Yeah, fuck that.
They're like they have like YouTube actors in them.
Yeah, true. All right, guys. So for our final segment of the evening, we're gonna do some quick news and notes, just catch you up on what's going on around the industry.
We got
And
to
we'll-
talk Mando, right?
Yeah. So the first one I was gonna mention to you, Tim, The Mandalorian 2 finally came out. We got this show coming out.
That
in
trailer
6 weeks.
fucking hyped me up.
You ready?
I
for
thought it
Mando
was
2
an
now?
awesome trailer.
It was really good. I think again, the show is coming out in 6 weeks. We were dying for a trailer. We were waiting, and finally, hey, we got something big, and I'm hyped now.
Well, the thing I wanted to say about Mandalorian, and we'll get to the whole people think Boba Fett's in the trailer and all that.
Absolutely.
But tell me what you thought when you first saw Mandalorian, especially the first few episodes. Did you think they were going to revolve the entire show around the child, Baby Yoda?
No,
That's what it's become.
it's become that now.
Do you like that or not?
Fine with me.
Because
Fine with
I
me.
thought it was going to be. I was surprised he was in every single episode. I thought it was going to kind of be just a
Touching
novelty
on.
thing.
Yes.
Now his whole season 2 journey is returning him to his people. That's like basically in the trailer.
That's
And
what
I
they
was
said.
like, wow, this whole thing is revolved around him. They had to do it. Do you think that was their plan, or they saw the hype with him and they made it their
I
plan?
think they probably had an initial plan, and then once they saw what was going on with the child, they're like, okay, we got to like double down.
Isn't
on this.
Favreau running this shit?
Yeah, Favreau.
Okay.
Yeah, Favreau's
Yeah,
running
it
that.
might be
Filoni.
part of
And
the
Filoni.
plan. Might be part of the plan.
Hey, I'm down for it. It's gonna be great. The numbers are gonna be there.
I
Day
just
one,
hope they
you know.
answer some questions.
I think they're going to.
And I read an interview with Filoni. I think you might have sent it to me, and it was basically like someone brought it to their attention, and they were like, "Whoa, like this is Yoda is sacred. Like,
Yes.
how much do we give away? How much do we not?" You can't give away the whole bag of fucking treats. I don't want him to land on Yoda's home planet and there's thousands of
Yeah, you
Yodas.
see
Like,
them-
like bring them back.
That would
Like,
be,
you know,
you have to little nuggets here and there, and they're
Yeah.
gonna. I think over the course of the season, we're gonna start to see those nuggets and see what they do with the Jedi coming back and all these rumors.
It can't
of
be
new
a full
characters.
reveal of everything you've ever wanted.
No, I don't want it to be.
I want it to be enough to intrigue you and give you a little thing, but it can't give away like everything.
No,
I want there to be a big part of it still to be a mystery.
I agree. Mike, are you hyped for Mandalorian season 2?
No,
Or you-
I didn't watch the first one, but I did
okay,
see
you
the
didn't.
trailer.
Yeah.
It was a good trailer.
Okay, I agree.
Okay, I understand like the hype behind the little baby
maybe you'll
Yoda
maybe
thing.
Get on that Disney Plus now.
No, never. I'll get on it for Willow.
Oh,
Hey,
yeah, you're down for
if they
Willow.
make Willow, I'll subscribe and watch Willow and then cancel.
Cancel.
That'll be it.
All right, let's continue with
But
Star
it's a good
Wars.
trailer though.
It's been in the news. We have to talk about Daisy Ridley pretty much confirming what we already knew, telling everyone that there was no plan for her lineage. I definitely wanted to touch on this.
I don't know why people
she
got
say
so
she was supposed
people
to be
got
part
so
of-
angry about this because we all knew there was no
But you
plan.
notice we all knew because we were very confident that we knew. But once she says it, that's it. It's locked in. You know that because you're Mike. You're
Dude.
right. What you were saying is that
It doesn't.
she lined it up.
If there's anyone who follows Star Wars at all and watched 3 movies and didn't know there was no fucking plan, I don't know what you're believing in. You believe in fucking the
Ghosts?
tooth fairy gonna come and leave a fucking tooth under your pillow or money.
Well, guess what? She created that clickbait and the angry YouTube world where it's like Daisy Ridley exposed the fact because she literally said this is what got me so mad, and I don't want to go down a big rabbit hole for this. She literally said she was gonna be a Kenobi. Then they changed it, said she was
And-
going to be
yeah.
nobody. Then they said, oh, now you're going to be a Palpatine. And she was shooting the movie there. She was on the set for 9, and she didn't know what she was going to be. How do you allow for that to happen? We've said it 1,000 times, but I just don't understand. I don't get it.
I think it's the most botched thing ever done.
Oh yeah,
In
I
history
agree. And I'm
of
not even a
film.
big Star. I know you're a big Star Wars fan.
It's the most botched. It's
It
terrible.
is.
I have no desire to watch any of the movies ever again.
Oh, that's so. I know.
Like I like Rogue One,
I love Rogue
and I
One.
watched Solo again. The 3
Solo's not bad.
because 7 you watch and you say I hope this, and then 8 and fucking 9 are there to fucking stab you in the chest and disappoint you.
I agree with you, but I've also seen each one of them multiple times to try to learn to love it. Danny's laughing. It's true. It's brutal.
It's fucking horrible.
But listen, at the end of the day, she just confirmed what we were.
I don't want to fucking tap myself on the back, but this is going back like 2015.
Well, we've been saying
when
that
you
since
told
8.
me there was not one director for all 3 movies, I said that's
yeah,
a fucking
well,
problem.
that's a good.
And then remember
Okay.
when we did our show in Portchester after seeing episode 8, we were like, "What's going on here? Is there not a plan? We don't know what's happening." So we already had inklings of
Yeah,
this
we
in 2018.
we had faith in a fucking multi-billion-dollar conglomerate company that they could write one script for 3 movies.
Oh yeah,
I don't know what we should have not thought that. I guess that was too much to ask for.
I guess so. When you spend $4 billion on a property. All right, so let's move past that. The next thing, did you guys see the Dune trailer? Last week that was a big
I
thing
didn't
everyone was
see
talking
it.
about. You didn't get a chance to see it?
I did.
Well, okay, so what did you think, Mike, of the Dune trailer?
It
looks awesome.
It looks cool. It looks cool. I like the director, and I think that's for me. That's the number one thing. Like this
Denis
guy,
Villeneuve.
yeah. If that's how you say,
Excellent.
I can't even say his name. But he's great. I think everything he's done is good to great, and so I'll give him the. There's this Jodorowsky. Alejandro Jodorowsky. He was going to make this Dune. There's a documentary about him supposed to make Dune way back before Star Wars, the original one, and it's a great documentary. And I think this guy was like a brilliant guy. Okay. And it's an interesting thing, a documentary about him making Dune.
Yeah.
So, this movie is kind of bittersweet
Do you
for
think
me.
it's going to come out this year? Is it saying it's going to hit that December, end of the year? They're
Oh,
rushing to
really?
the mad dash.
How many fucking movies can they put in December? It's gonna be
Apparently,
like the end of the MLB baseball season.
It's going to be a mess.
It might fail. Like he did Blade Runner 2049,
Yes, he did,
which
and
was
he-
an excellent movie.
Very good film. He did Enemy. He did Arrival.
Well, I'm just saying, but
Prisoners.
Blade Runner.
Enemy?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Denis
that-
Villeneuve did Enemy.
a crazy
You got
movie.
me on Enemy.
Did you really?
Yeah. I've
Nice.
never even heard of that film until Tim told me.
Yeah,
about
it's
it.
a crazy movie.
All right.
But hold on, Blade Runner was a bomb, expensive bomb, but a great movie.
I enjoyed it.
And this director, he's good, so I will give him the benefit of the doubt, and
Have to.
watch this movie.
All right, guys, last topic of the night. We have to talk about it. We ended our last show on this. I don't want to give it too much attention, but Cuties came out, and I think, thankfully, rightfully so, there has been a huge backlash. Netflix is getting absolutely destroyed. People are absolutely disgusted. So many people I know, even on Instagram, other movie accounts, have been canceling their Netflix subscriptions. That's how upset they are.
They got
with
why
what
why
Netflix
are
did with
they
Cuties.
why are they just not pulling it?
I think they think the controversy
Because
is worth it.
it's fucking controversy is the best fucking.
I guess you're right. You're right.
I read they lost so many subscriptions in the first couple days. They lost like $9
It's
billion
not gonna fucking matter.
from people canceling.
That's still bad though.
Nah,
because
but they'll
cancel,
get-
because it doesn't hurt. Who does it hurt canceling it? Like, there's not going to be people out there like, oh, you cancel this, I'm going to cancel my Netflix subscription.
right.
Yeah, it's bad that they
Hey, I'm glad they're getting the backlash. We looked for saying, hey, what's going to happen? I looked at the top 10. It peaked.
They
at
obviously
about
don't
7.
care. They would have fucking pulled it already.
Hey, well, listen, I'm glad it never got to number 1. That means people weren't. That means people at least weren't watching.
Is that what it got up to 7?
Yeah, it got up I was paying attention to it the first weekend. It got up to 7. It fell back to 8, and now it's not even on the top 10 anymore. So I'm glad because we see these Netflix movies come out the first weekend. They usually jump right to number 1, and then they tail off.
Yeah, they're wrong.
Enough people just laid off of this.
Netflix
They
probably
didn't
just
see it.
held it at 7. You
think
know,
so?
like mad people watched it,
Hey,
but
listen,
they're
I'm
like, we
glad-
don't want this extra.
I'm not watching it. It's
controversy.
It's gross. The whole thing is terrible. So I'm glad that they're getting them. We said, hey, let's
So
see
how'd
if they
you
get a
like it?
backlash. I didn't watch it, and I will not watch it.
I will never watch it.
Yeah.
I'm glad they're getting the backlash. I'm glad they're paying for it.
It's
too.
weird
I'm
because the
happy people-
director initially said before that like people that defended it they were like saying like she's doing it to show like the negative side of
I
all
heard
this.
that.
But they're still depicting it or whatever.
Right,
But that
you're
was
still
her
showing
original intention. But now
You could-
she's
you could-
changed her tune
You
and
could
she's
now I obviously didn't watch it, but I'm sure she could have done that in a way that didn't have to have like
right.
the visual of it on
Right.
screen.
What I'm saying
There's-
though is like she initially was trying to say that like that was her intention, like good
She wanted to
intention,
make you uncomfortable,
good
is the
intention, yeah,
idea.
and that was part of it. But now she's saying like, oh, it's feminine. She's like changing her tune on
Yeah,
it.
'cause she's seen what's
like,
going on.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Hey, listen, I'm glad it got the backlash, like I said. All right, guys. Listen, we hit on a lot of topics tonight, and again, we like you said last time.
You
we
didn't see Tenet yet?
Cuties.
Nah.
Tim's gonna see it. He'll love it. I think he's really gonna like it.
Really? All
Yeah,
right.
I think so. All right, guys. So before we jump off, we just gotta remind you, come see us on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe. If you want to hear the audio for our podcast, we're on Anchor, we're on Spotify, we're on Google, we're on Apple. Tim,
Twitter.
Tim, as you know, we're on Twitter now.
Yes.
So everyone's got to go hit us up on Twitter. We're at Movies That Don't. So follow us on there. We're definitely putting stuff there every day, keeping up to date with the news. Absolutely.
Tweet at us.
Yeah, tweet at us. We'll follow you back. All right, so guys, I think that will about wrap it up.
We might be on TikTok soon. He's gonna do some dances.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You definitely want me to get yeah. If you guys want to start a dance group, just do it on there. All right, guys. So my co-host for the evening, Tim. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
And our producer engineer, Danny. Thank you so much.
Danny, thank you.
Absolutely. All right,
For
guys.
real,
See you
man.
next time. Take care.
I'm with you, man.